Hi Krishna, everybody. Welcome back to another session of Bhagavad Gita. We are going to do text 14 and 15 of chapter 2 today. If you're following along and have a hardbound Bhagavad Gita with you, these verses will be on page number 80 and 81 of the hardbound Bhagavad Gita. We'll do a quick recap before we move on. Last session we saw chapter 2, text number 13. Chapter 2, text number 13 says, the changing bodies verse, as the embodied soul passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul, after leaving this body, the soul attains death after leaving this body, and a sober person is one who is not disturbed by such a change. We elaborated on the changing bodies. We saw a picture of changing bodies and how we all go through different bodies in this very life. Uh, we are in a tiny baby body, then the body grows, we become a young boy, girl, and then we become an adult, and slowly we start to become old. So all these experiences are in the same body. Our bodies are changing continuously. And so who is a sober man? A sober man is a man who is not disturbed by the changes in this body. The ultimate change is when we have to change the body. When the body becomes old and useless, then we have to give up this body and take a new body. And a sober person is one who is not disturbed by such a change, because this is normal. This is how it happens. Like we change our clothes every day. We remove the clothes that have become dirty and we put on new clothes. So when the body becomes old, we give up the old body and we take a new body. Krishna and the living entity is not on the same level. Krishna is giving us this knowledge, and although Krishna is living as the super soul in our body, our soul is different from the super soul that lives in our body. So there are two souls living within our body. One is we, and the other is super soul, Krishna. And the teaching is Krishna and the living entity are not on the same level. The agenda for today is we will move forward. We will see text number 14. Text number 14 is about tolerate, so we will expand on toleration of text number 14. We will see in text number 14, Krishna addresses Arjuna as with two specific words, KAUNTEYA and BHARATA. We will see the significance why Krishna is addressing Arjuna by these two words. We will move on to text number 15. Text number 15 talks about who is eligible for liberation. We will expand on that, and then as Krishna in these texts 14 and 15 is helping Arjuna understand what is his duty, we will try to understand what is our duty. We'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanaतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My dear Lord, and the spiritual energy of the Lord, kindly engage me in your service. I am now embarrassed with this material service. Please engage me in your service. Text number 14. Text number 14 reads, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and the disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So if you see the very first line, he's saying, O son of Kunti. Krishna is saying, O son of Kunti. So he's not addressing Arjuna as Arjuna. He's saying, O son of Kunti. The non-permanent appearance and of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course of time are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. So when winter comes, we don't stop working, or we don't say I'm not going to work. It's winter, it's very cold. We keep moving. And similarly, when summer comes, it's very hot. We still keep moving. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, whether there is happiness or whether there is distress, you keep moving, you keep doing your duty. And later, he addresses Arjuna as O scion of Bharata. And he's urging that please don't get disturbed by the circumstance. Try to tolerate and perform your duty. So, two things Krishna is telling Arjuna here is tolerate and perform your duty. Don't be disturbed. Don't get carried away by the circumstances. So specifically on the tolerate, says proper discharge of duty. What does it mean when we say tolerate? Say, I am feeling not so good, or I'm feeling very bored, so I say, okay, I'm not going to work today. Krishna is saying, however you're feeling, continue with the discharge of your duty. So continue discharge of your duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. Situation may be convenient or situation may not be convenient. Krishna is saying, discharge your duty. Here is a boy taking a cold shower bath in the month of winter. In winter, it's very cold, and we can say, because it's very cold, I'm not going to take a bath. But to keep our body clean is our duty. So, irrespective of it is winter or summer, we take a bath. There is a woman in the kitchen cooking, and apparently it may be summer and we have to cook in the kitchen. One may say, hey, it's so hot and I'm not going to cook. Krishna is saying, in spite of climatic inconveniences, we have to cook, and that is our duty, to feed ourselves and to feed our families. We cook and we serve because it's our duty. Now, coming down to Arjuna, Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and the duty of a Kshatriya is to fight. So, Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you may be feeling inconvenient to kill your cousins. You might be feeling inconvenient to kill your grandfather and your teacher, but fighting is your duty. So do your duty. What happens when we do our duty? Krishna is saying when we do our duty, the performance of duty helps us to rise to the platform of knowledge. And what happens when we rise to the platform of knowledge? By knowledge and devotion, we can liberate ourselves from illusion or Maya. What is the illusion? The illusion is that I think I am this body. In reality, I am a soul, because I go from this body to another body. So I am not this body. I am soul. But the way I live this life is not I am soul. So when I do my duty, it helps me to rise to the platform of the knowledge that I am not this body. And when I continue to do my duty like that, then it helps me to become liberated and come to the realization that I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, meant to serve Krishna. Coming down to the two words by which Krishna addresses Arjuna, Krishna is addressing Arjuna as KAUNTEYA. So he is invoking the greatness of Arjuna's motherly side. Uh, Kunti is a great lady. She's a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And Krishna is telling Arjuna, you're son of Kunti. And then he's saying Bharata. He's invoking the greatness from his father's side. He's saying, you are the son of Pandu. Pandu, who is the son of Vyasadeva. So you have a great lineage from your mother's side and your father's side. And what happens when you have a great lineage from your father's side and your mother's side? Krishna is saying you have a great responsibility. What is that responsibility? You perform your duty. So Krishna is like hammering on Arjuna, saying, Arjuna, you cannot run away. You have to perform your duty. So thus you cannot avoid to fight. So why is Krishna doing this? If you remember way back in chapter 1, Arjuna gave 5 reasons. He said, Krishna, I am not going to fight. Why? Because I have to kill my cousins, I have to kill my teacher, I have to kill my grandfather. Everybody is killed. Even if I win the kingdom, with whom will I enjoy the kingdom? And so he is giving reasons to Krishna that Krishna, I don't want to fight. And Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you cannot you cannot do that. You look at what you have on hand, and how are you saying that I cannot fight? Moving on to our next verse, text number 15 says, O best among men, Arjuna. So Krishna is continuing to speak to Arjuna. He says, O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So, not being disturbed in happiness and distress. So, the same theme is continuing, that you don't get disturbed, you tolerate. And what happens when you tolerate like that and perform your duty? Krishna is saying you are eligible for liberation. So 2 points: being steady in determination for advancing in spiritual realization. So one is determined to advance spiritually, and so one takes up some practice, a spiritual practice, and one continues to keep doing it over and over and over, day after day, to build spiritual strength. Like we go exercise in the gym to build our bodily strength, similarly spiritual practices help us build spiritual strength. And one thing that helps to build a spiritual strength or cultivate spiritual realization is one has to be determined to do the spiritual practices every single day. Like if you have to have a strong body, you go to gym every single day and you work out in the gym, and as a result you get a healthy body. And if you want a healthy soul, you want a soul that is determined to serve Krishna, then we have to do our spiritual practices every day. Second point is you tolerate the onslaught of distress and happiness. If you see, the 2 points go hand in hand with each other. If one is unable to tolerate the onslaught of distress and happiness, then one cannot be determined. If you have observed, the way material life works is, today if there is happiness, wait for a while and distress will come. Today if there is distress, wait for a while and happiness will come. These are the two features of duality: happiness and distress. And so one has to tolerate them in order to be determined to do our spiritual practices. Like say if I have to go to gym, but say I'm very sad today for some reason. I'm very sad. And I say, you know what, I'm very sad, and so I'm not going to go to gym today. It breaks my regulation, it breaks my practice, and it breaks my continuity towards my on which I started to work. I wanted to be bodily strong, so I took up a vow that I'll go to gym every day. Now one day I'm sad, I don't go to gym. Maybe I don't feel like going the next day also. But if I tolerate and say, hey, yes, I'm sad, that's okay. I took a vow to go to gym, and so I will go to gym. And who knows, you meet people there and your mood changes. So if I am sad or if I am happy, I do my spiritual practices. So if you see, these two go hand in hand with each other. One has to tolerate the onslaught of distress and happiness, and when one tolerates, one is able to be determined to do one's spiritual practices. So Arjuna is being advised, Arjuna, however difficult it might be, discharge of duty is necessary. And what happens when you discharge your duty? Krishna is saying that is the way of achieving liberation from material bondage. So when we discharge our duty, we get knowledge, and when we get knowledge and devotion, then it helps us to become free from illusion. So discharge of duty is uplifting, and when we live life in that uplifted state, then we are actively moving towards liberation from material bondage. Now Krishna very clearly told Arjuna that Arjuna, your duty is you should fight. Let's understand what is our discharge of duty. What are we supposed to do? Krishna is urging us in Bhagavad Gita to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. As a human being, this is our duty to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which helps us to move closer to Krishna. So, we'll all chant the mantra together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So if any one of us is not yet chanting this mantra, I would urge you to take 10 minutes in your day and cultivate this spiritual practice of chanting the Mahamantra, which helps us to get closer to Krishna. This is our spiritual practice. We should be investing our time in. We should tolerate the happiness and distress of this material world, and we should continue to chant regularly this Mahamantra. That is our duty. We'll do a quick summary. Chapter 2, text number 14. Krishna is urging Arjuna to perform his duty and not be disturbed by the onslaught of happiness and distress. Krishna is telling Arjuna, tolerate the onslaught of happiness and distress, and while you are tolerating, discharge your duty. Arjuna, you have a great responsibility because you come from a great lineage. Kunti is your mother and Pandu is your father. And when you come from a very great lineage, you have a great responsibility to perform your duty. What happens by discharge of duty is you become uplifted and you gain knowledge. From knowledge and devotion, you become free from illusion. The illusion is, I am this body. So, to become free from that illusion, Arjuna is being advised to tolerate the onslaught of happiness and distress. Krishna says it is like the coming and going of winter and summer season, so just tolerate and perform your duty. We saw text number 15. Krishna is saying, when you perform your duty, tolerating the onslaught of happiness and distress, you become liberated. And who is eligible for liberation? One who tolerates the onslaught of happiness and distress and be determined and steady to perform your spiritual practices, advancing in spiritual realization. And what is our duty? We chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This mantra helps us to connect with Krishna and understand, realize our forgotten relationship with Him. So, as a human being, it is our duty to continuously, regularly chant this Mahamantra. Thank you all very much. You can post your questions if you have on the chat, and I will be able to answer them whenever I get to see them. Thank you all for watching. Hare Krishna. Take care.